Hi, my name's Danny Fleming of the MA Properties team. So today's video is about, can you take your light fixtures, drapes, extra fridge, bidet seats, all of those things when you leave? The answer is it depends. Doesn't it always depend? So every seller we sell the home for, we get an inclusion exclusion form filled out by the seller prior to coming on the market. And then the buyers sign that when they're making an offer. So the buyers know what's going to remain and what's going to go. What you don't want to get into the situation of is that it's been a bit airy-fairy. Nobody really knows, but the sellers are expecting that they can take these things, the buyers are expecting them to stay, the purchase and sale doesn't reference them, those sorts of things, because they create issues at walkthrough, big issues at walkthrough. And it can cost you some money. It can cost you some serious money if you've taken some things when you shouldn't have taken them. If the buyers have signed an inclusion exclusion, then that is typically, the attorneys have that, it's included in the purchase and sale as to what stays, what goes. If there's been no inclusion exclusion done, then it typically, sometimes it's mentioned in the purchase and sale, sometimes they're not. But typically a sale includes fixtures, things that are attached to the house. And when I say attached to the house, I mean screwed in, there's cabinetry built around them. It's part of the home. Drapes are a good one. Drapes, blinds, it's always a given that blinds stay. Drapes, if they're custom hardware, typically drapes stay unless they're sentimental and you want to take them. Well, if they're sentimental and you want to take them, they just need to be excluded from the sale. And it needs to be an MLS that they're excluded from the sale. Light fixtures. Let's say the dining room light fixture is one that you've taken from house to house to house and it's really important to you for sentimental reasons. Exclude it from the sale. Or better yet, before your home comes on the market, take it down and put a new light fixture that doesn't have sentimental attachment to you, and that can stay. An interesting one is bidet seats. If it's got plumbing, which most bidet seats do, it needs to stay. They need to stay. I did a walkthrough with some buyers just a few months ago, and I commented to the buyers at the time, as when we were looking through the home prior to making an offer, wow, look at these fancy bidets. They're fancy. And then when we did walkthrough, those fancy bidets weren't there anymore. So what happened in that scenario, the seller argued and argued and argued that they were never there, and yet we had proof that they were there. And the seller ended up, I did some research online because I had photos of them, did some research online as to how much it would cost to buy those bidet seats, and there were 5 of them. The seller paid for brand new bidet seats to go into the home. The buyers went and bought new bidet seats. So it can cost you money if you take those things and you shouldn't have taken them. Things like a washer and dryer. I had a situation once where the washer and dryer were included, and the sellers, when they moved out, took the washer and dryer. When we did walk through, we noticed that they were gone. They were meant to be in the house. So I contacted the listing agent and said, hey, they've taken the washer and dryer. Prior to closing, the seller had to get a truck, had to get another truck, had to get a truck to go and bring them back again and to reinstall them. That's an awful lot of aggravation and a lot of effort and all of that stuff for taking the washer and dryer when they shouldn't have been taken. So it's always better to ensure that as a seller, you know exactly what's meant to go and what's meant to stay. And that's in the form of the inclusion exclusion sheet. That's the easiest way of doing it, and it's the safest way of doing it, and it won't cost you any money. Now, if you, for instance, you realized afterward, oh, there was a plant out in the backyard that sentimental reasons, all of that type of thing. And you'd really like to take some cuttings of it, or you'd really like to just take the plant, ask your listing agent to ask the buyer's agent if that's okay. And the buyers will say yes or no. Because if you don't have the home in the same state it was when they bought the home, when they made an offer on the home, then it's your responsibility to ensure that it is in the same state. Bathroom mirrors. If you've got a fancy bathroom mirror, a fancy framed bathroom mirror that is really, really nice, don't remove it. Unless you want to take it with you, remove it before your home comes on the market. I could tell you story after story, instance after instance, where what's meant to be a positive experience for you as a seller and a positive experience for the buyer in buying the home goes sour just because you've tried to take something that the buyer was really looking forward to seeing. Because don't forget, in today's world, the buyers will have a video, probably. They will have photos of the home when it came on the market. They have all of this digital evidence of what was in the home and what was meant to stay. Now, if you're talking about a fridge in the basement or a fridge in the garage, that's considered personal property, and so it can go. A freezer, a freestanding freezer that's in the garage or in the basement, that's your personal property. It's not been built into something. And there is already a fridge freezer in the kitchen. They can go. It really depends on, is it part of the house? And if it's part of the house, it has to stay. So anyway, I hope that's clear. There's a lot of different scenarios. Again, it's got to be blindingly obvious as to what stays and what goes to ensure that there's no challenges that walk through with one side saying one thing and the other side saying another. So fill in an inclusion exclusion list. If your listing agent isn't providing you with an inclusion exclusion list, write one yourself. Write it yourself and give it to the listing agent so that they can put it on MLS so that the buyer knows exactly what they're buying. All right, if you want to talk about more about this, I'd love to, and my contact info is following, and have a great day. Bye.